In a quiet corner of New York State, tucked away from the rumble of the cities and towns, there lies a little valley, so calm, so dreamy, that it seems almost untouched by time itself. This place is known as Sleepy Hollow, and true to its name, it has a strange, otherworldly stillness, as though the air itself is filled with whispers of forgotten stories. The people of Sleepy Hollow are unlike others. Generations of Dutch families have lived here, and their customs have become deeply rooted. They believe in the supernatural, not just as bedtime tales, but as reality. Ghosts, goblins, and especially the fearsome Headless Horseman. These are not mere legends here. They are part of everyday life. The most terrifying and famous of these spirits is said to be the ghost of a Hessian soldier who lost his head to a cannonball during the Revolutionary War. Each night, he rises from his grave and rides like the wind through the woods, searching, always searching for his missing head. It is into this strange and dreamy world that a tall, lanky schoolteacher arrives, Ichabod Crane. His figure is impossible to miss. Long arms and legs that dangle awkwardly, a narrow body like a scarecrow brought to life. His nose is long, his eyes large and green, and he walks with a jerky stride, as though he's always about to tip over. Ichabod has been sent to teach at the little schoolhouse in Sleepy Hollow. He's strict but fair with the children, using a twig to keep order, but sparingly, always favoring the wealthy students with softer treatment. When class is done, he visits the villagers' homes, helping with chores or tutoring in exchange for meals and a place to sleep. His life is frugal, but Ichabod is clever. He always manages to find comfort without spending a penny. But there's something else Ichabod is known for: his enormous appetite. Food is his delight and weakness. He can describe a roast pig with more passion than a poet speaks of love. And as he walks through the countryside, he dreams of pies, hams, bread, and cakes laid out on banquet tables. There is yet another side to Ichabod. Despite his practical knowledge, he is obsessed with ghost stories. He borrows old books about demons and witches and reads them late into the night. When he walks home after dark, every sound in the forest becomes a sign of haunting. The rustle of leaves, the hoot of an owl, the creak of a branch, all send chills down his spine. Yet he never learns. The next day, he is once again eager to hear more stories, especially from the old Dutch wives who spin tales of haunted houses, strange lights in the woods, and, of course, the Headless Horseman. He listens wide-eyed, believing every word. But Ichabod's mind isn't only filled with ghosts and gluttony. It is also filled with dreams of fortune. And these dreams soon take shape in the form of Katrina Van Tassel. Katrina is the only daughter of Baltus Van Tassel, one of the wealthiest farmers in the valley. She's young, beautiful, and flirtatious, dressed in the finest Dutch silks and always full of charm. Ichabod becomes enchanted, imagining not only a life of love with Katrina, but also inheriting her father's vast lands, barns filled with grain, cattle grazing on the hills, and pantries overflowing with food. But Ichabod is not the only one drawn to Katrina. His biggest rival is Brom Van Brunt, more commonly known as Brom Bones. Brom is broad-shouldered, bold, and beloved in Sleepy Hollow. He rides the strongest horse, laughs the loudest, and never backs down from a challenge. Brom also wants Katrina's hand, and he's not pleased with Ichabod's growing attention. But rather than confronting Ichabod with fists, Brom prefers to play pranks, switching his singing lesson notes, setting dogs to bark outside his window, and even frightening him with ghostly sounds at night. Ichabod, however, is determined. He sees himself as the better match, more refined, more educated, and with an air of sophistication that the brute Brom lacks. And one day, the opportunity he's been waiting for arrives. A grand party is to be held at the Van Tassel estate. Every young man and woman of the valley is invited. There will be music, dancing, food, and, most importantly, a chance for Ichabod to win Katrina's favor. Ichabod borrows a horse for the journey, an old, tired, and bony steed named Gunpowder. The creature is more suited for a scarecrow than a battle, but Ichabod mounts him with pride. His clothes are pressed, his hair slicked, and his heart full of hope. The party is everything Ichabod imagined. Music fills the air, the guests laugh and dance, and tables groan under the weight of roasted meats, candied fruits, cakes, and pies. Ichabod eats heartily, then joins the dancers, spinning with Katrina across the polished wooden floor. But not all goes as planned. As the music fades and the candles burn low, the guests at the Van Tassel estate begin to drift into smaller groups, sharing slices of pie, cups of cider, and stories beneath the soft flicker of lantern light. In a corner of the great hall, Ichabod Crane, satisfied and slightly stuffed, lingers beside Katrina Van Tassel, trying to charm her with his tales of the city, poetry, and his dreams of fortune. But something seems off. Though Katrina smiles, there's a distance in her eyes. As Ichabod leans in, perhaps to whisper something gallant, she politely turns away. Moments later, she excuses herself and walks away, leaving Ichabod standing alone, his pride quietly shattering. No one knows what was said between them, but Ichabod leaves the party with a heavy heart. The laughter behind him now feels like mockery. The food, once warm and inviting, now seems distant. The dream he had carefully woven of marrying Katrina, inheriting a great estate, living a life of leisure, is now unraveling. With silence as his companion and his heart thudding louder than his horse's hooves, Ichabod takes the road back through the forest toward the place that all men in Sleepy Hollow whisper about, the stretch near the old Dutch church, where the Headless Horseman is said to appear. Every sound now takes on meaning. The chirp of a cricket, the hoot of an owl, the rustling of leaves, each one prickles Ichabod's neck with unease. He tries to sing a hymn to calm himself, but his voice is swallowed by the hush of the woods. As he crosses a narrow bridge and enters the shadow of a gnarled tulip tree, Ichabod remembers a ghost tale told just that evening. This very tree, they said, was where Major Andre, the spy, was captured, and some believe his ghost still lingers. Ichabod glances upward, half expecting to see a phantom face looking down. Just ahead lies Wiley's Swamp, a dark, soggy patch known for strange lights and unnatural sounds. Gunpowder hesitates, his hooves sucking at the muddy path. Ichabod urges him forward, but every step seems more reluctant than the last. Suddenly, a rustle, a snort, a silhouette emerges from the woods. Another horse and rider, dark and tall, stand motionless in the trees. Ichabod halts, heart thudding in his throat. He tries to greet the figure, but there is no reply. He nudges Gunpowder onward, hoping the figure will stay behind. But to his terror, the rider follows. They move in silence, side by side, until Ichabod dares a glance and sees, to his horror, that the figure has no head. Where the head should be, a glowing object rests on the saddle. It's round, it's dark, it's a pumpkin. Panic surges through Ichabod. He kicks Gunpowder hard, urging the tired horse into a wild gallop. The woods blur as they race through twisting paths, the hooves pounding like war drums. Behind him, the Headless Horseman gives chase, riding faster, closing the distance. Branches whip Ichabod's face. The saddle slips. His hat is gone. He clings to the horse with raw desperation. Just ahead, through the darkness, he sees the one place that might save him, the bridge near the old Dutch church. If he can cross it, the ghostly rider, they say, cannot follow. He makes it across. He turns, breathless, eyes wide. The horseman halts for a moment, then rises in his saddle and hurls the pumpkin straight at Ichabod's face. There's a flash of orange fire, a crashing thud, then darkness. The sun rises slowly over Sleepy Hollow. Birds chirp, mist rolls across the fields, and Gunpowder is found grazing quietly near home, without his saddle, without his rider. A search party is sent out. They find no Ichabod Crane, only his trampled hat and a shattered pumpkin, lying cold at the base of the bridge. Rumors swirl through the village like falling leaves. Some believe the Headless Horseman took him, carried him away into the night. Others whisper that Ichabod was so humiliated by Katrina's rejection that he fled the valley in shame. Years later, a traveler reports seeing Ichabod alive in another town, a lawyer, a judge, a man of letters. He had married, started anew, and never looked back. But in Sleepy Hollow, the legend only grows. Brom Bones, who soon married Katrina, always laughed louder than anyone when the tale was told, especially when the pumpkin was mentioned. And though no one dared accuse him, some believed that it was he, dressed as the horseman, who scared Ichabod away for good. And so, the story became part of the valley's whispering winds, its creaking branches, its fog-covered paths. The Headless Horseman still rides, they say, especially on cold autumn nights, searching endlessly for his head.